And good afternoon, everyone. This is live in the hall at Georgia Municipal Association's 84th Annual Convention. I'm Amy Henderson with GMA.
And I'm Kelly Bennett with GMA.
And we just had our opening general session. It was just a great event.
Yes, super high energy. Waldo Waldman, who is like a very patriotic speaker, he just told us about leadership and being like wingman. You're not on your own. I just want to uplift everybody.
As you can see, we're here in the exhibit hall. The energy of that has really carried over here to the exhibit hall. We have about 200 exhibitors here this weekend showing city officials their services, the city solutions that they have, and you're going to talk to some of those folks. We've got about 1,500 city officials that are here in Savannah. We got off to a great start yesterday with training and
so many training. I saw we put together a document. It was about 2,400 training seats filled over the next 4 days, so the entire 4 days.
I think
that's awesome.
It's really cool that city officials in Georgia are so dedicated to learning more about what they're doing, and they're so about their communities and really wanting them to be the best places that they can be. And it's, city government actually is fairly complicated. And
it is. I mean, even some of the classes I sit in on, I'm just like, oh, wow, they have to remember a lot. But it's that dedication that kind of propels them. That's so inspiring.
Yeah, it really is. And they're just a great group of people. There's, along with the networking, along with the classes, there's all the networking that they do. And we see that, and it almost kind of has a family reunion.
It is.
Atmosphere to it.
No, like, this is our second convention, and now it's just like, I was a newbie last year, and now I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? So it feels really good.
They do really, that becomes part of your family. And we say, once you're part of the GMA family, you never leave, even though we are celebrating this weekend and celebrating the work life of some folks who are leaving GMA, and some city officials because this is an election year for city officials, a lot of city officials in Georgia, and there's a number of folks that have been around for a while that are members of our family who have said that they're not going to be running again. So it is kind of a sad,
bittersweet
weekend, but we appreciate everything that they have done for our state and our cities and our organization as well. So are we going to go learn about some of these solutions?
So I'm going to head over to talk to some of the exhibitors. Maybe last year they had some really fun activities, so hopefully I get to check some of those out too.
Okay, cool. And hanging with me, we're going to talk to Boyd Austin, the mayor of Dallas, Georgia, who is the president of Georgia Municipal Association the last couple of days of his term, and see what he's experienced this year and the great places he's been. And welcome back to Live in the Hall. I'm Amy Henderson. We're here at the Georgia Municipal Association's annual convention exhibit within the exhibit hall, and I'm joined by Mayor Boyd Austin of Dallas, who is GMA's president and has been all over the state this year. We just heard from our speaker, Waldo.
Right.
And you could have been Where's Waldo this year for where you are traveling all over the state.
I've been in every corner of the state, and it's been amazing.
Tell me some of the things that you got to experience this year.
Well, first of all, I got to meet a lot of great people and see people in every size city, from the little bitty town of Edge Hill with 25 all the way up to folks in the city of Atlanta. I've been in every district and every section of the state. I saw a lot of things. I got off the interstates and went through some of the back roads, and just the incredible things that each city has that's unique. And you know, we really need to tell that story. People need to get off more.
I call it detourism.
Right.
And I'm trying to make this a thing. So if people would
work
with me on this. But no, as you say, there's so many great little gems in Georgia. What do you think are some of the commonalities of the people who are working for their cities as council members and mayors? What are some of the things you think they have in common?
I think we all share the same problems, the same issues. It's just on a different scale. And so that's what GMA does, is it allows people to come together to help know what the solutions may be to their problems, and to share that information with one another. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. This morning I was in a class on emerging technologies, and one of the things I pointed out to the very smallest cities is our IT in a box service, that GMA has been proactive to try to help provide them with the services that they need and that are affordable and can be tailored to their needs.
And that is a big issue, because cybersecurity is such a big concern, and government tends to kind of trend behind on technology. So yeah, that is a huge.
And a lot of towns don't have a budget for a full-time staff or IT director, but with our services, with the HR services, all of those things, they can buy those and they can be up to date just like their bigger city peers.
And speaking of problem solvers, at the legislature this year, there was an issue with the work. There was a bill that was brought up last year with workers' comp, for providing workers' compensation coverage for firefighters who contract cancer. And when it first came up, the bill was passed in both houses. The governor heard our concerns as an organization and vetoed the bill. And of course, we knew it was coming back this year. And speak to what GMA did, how we were helped solve that problem.
You know, the problem with the bill was it had a great purpose, and nobody ever denied the fact that we need to do for our public safety officials. But it was very broad, and our great concern was that it would bankrupt our workers' comp system, and that nobody would ride them in the state anymore. So the governor heard those economic concerns, and we went back through our GMEB system and helped formulate a product that we could sell. We narrowed the definitions and the types of cancer that were available. We put some stopgap measures in there to protect cities against abnormal cost. And then we created a product, and the great news is the product is going to be about half the annual premium that we thought it would.
Oh, that is great news.
So it's going to be around in the 400 range, and it's going to be in the low 200s.
Yeah. And I love too that we go into these things with the attitude of not let's stop this legislation, but how can we solve the problem? And I've been at GMA for a number of years now, and I always say I think that's one of the things that makes GMA the great place it is that GMA is a problem-solving kind of place, and and of course your leadership. It was one of your representatives who brought the bill in the original bill, and you worked with him on this as too.
But what we never need to lose sight of is that it was an unfunded mandate from state government, and we hear the state government complain all the time about the federal government passing them down, but they pass the buck to us. And ultimately, our taxpayers are going to foot that bill for those benefits. But we were able to work through that and with them to get something that was more amenable to all of us.
What do you think are some of the other accomplishments that you experienced this year?
Well, the one thing I really wanted to do was promote training. I saw a large number of people that had never completed their required course in the newly elected official institute. And so we were trying to push those folks to get that out of the way. Clear up the record, whether if they were exempt or they just hadn't completed the process. and then to be engaged in the rest of the training that we do. There's so many things. We solve so many problems when people go to the training and they understand what they can or cannot do or what other people are doing to solve that problem. And we focused on leadership, and that's the point of this conference, the theme of the conference. And we have the mentoring program that has been kind of officially set in place and beginning to take legs so we can reach out to new officials.
And that's going to be key this year because, as you mentioned, it's
a city election year mainly.
And we want those people who are going to be, they may be new to running for office. They need to know that they have to have that mandatory training as soon as possible. They can't always get in the first time.
And the other thing, too, is I wanted people to focus on what GMA's core mission is, and that's service, advocacy, and innovation. And the advocacy part protects home rule for every city. And there may be issues that come up that do not particularly affect one's own city, but there will be a day when it does.
Right.
And so we need to solidify that position. We need to ask those people that are running for statewide office, how do you stand on these issues that affect cities? And are you willing to step out and say, we believe in home rule at your level like we claim at ours?
Right. And that's a very good point. And as you know, GMA, of course, is going to be proactive in the 2018 governor's election, and probably with another couple of the state leadership positions to try to tie our issues into the city issues into what they're doing. We have seen some folks here at our conference this weekend who are running for governor, and they've been very active in meeting city officials throughout the years. This isn't unusual for them to be here, and we appreciate that. But I'm sure we're going to start.
But when they ask for our support, we ought to ask for their support. And we ought to know how they stand on those things that are vital to all cities and really to all local government, to counties and school boards as well.
So let me ask you this. You've been in office for a little over 20 years now?
22 and a half.
22 and a half. Serve as president of GMA, serve as chair of the RMEBS funds. What advice, it is an election year, what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about running for city office for the first time?
Think long and hard about it. Know what you can and cannot do. And, I tell people all the time, we do have problem children. We see that around the state. We see problems in cities. But most times it's generated by personalities or people that think they can do something that they can't. This morning I was in a session and some of them were talking about how bad their mayor was. And I'd say, if you want to be mayor, run for mayor. If you want to be a council member, run for council. But don't run for one and try to be the other. And know what you can do. Read the charter that governs your city. They all are different.
That is the Bible of city government.
That's right. And, and city government is the only level of government that's growing. We had 2 new cities join us this year. They were recognized today.
Right.
The city of Stonecrest and the city of South Fulton.
And they're not small cities.
South Fulton is a city of 100,000 people. And that's bigger than most of our cities.
Yes, and I think like an 84 square mile landmass.
Very different looking city.
It's
it looks like some of the old gerrymandered cities or whatever.
Yeah, but we're so happy to have them there, and we're happy that interest in local government is there, that people like having their representatives close to them where they know they can pick up the phone and call somebody. They know they're going to run into you in downtown Dallas, and they can ask you questions.
Absolutely.
And you're so accessible to them, and they like that with their local governments.
And since the cityhood progression began with Sandy Springs, every year we find cities, not just in metro Atlanta, but all over the state, or groups of people all over the state, that want to determine their future, their land use planning, services that are provided. We've got issues on the coast down here, all over the state, and people are willing to submit to that form of government and create it because it is closest to them and they can make an impact at that level.
That's right. And we're celebrating all the great things that cities are this weekend. We're celebrating the leadership that are the people who are the leaders of these cities, and the different styles of leadership. I mean, there's some leaders that are just brash and out there, and there are others, and I think of Billy Trapnell and Metter, who unfortunately for us, and I think for the city of Metter, but I'm sure they've got great other great leaders there.
Right.
He's not running again this year, and his style of leadership is so very just a servant leadership.
Right, absolutely.
And there's so many different styles of leadership, and we're celebrating all of that this weekend. And we appreciate your leadership with our organization this year.
And I want to say to all the people of GMA, what a great honor this has been. I'm telling you, it's one of the signal honors of my life. And it's been great to meet a lot of people, to renew a lot of old friendships, and to be in places that I haven't been in a long time, and to see that every city in its uniqueness is marketing itself, and whether small or large, that they're reaching out to tell their story, and they've got a great story to tell.
Did you come away with any favorites?
I'm not going to say. Dallas is always my favorite.
Is home.
My heart will be in Athens with the University of Georgia forever.
You know, but I agree with you.
I've friends all over the state.
There's so many cities I haven't been able to get to yet, but the ones I have, there is just something about each and every one of them that you're I love it.
The magical city of Savannah, our first city, and it's in its 285th year, I think, this year.
Yeah.
So, you know, almost 300 years of history here, and what Oglethorpe envisioned, and we still have vibrant, growing cities all over Georgia.
It is not a bad place to be in Savannah and with these people this weekend.
That's right.
So thank you for that. Now we're going to go check in with Kelly, who's talking with the folks at Home Depot.
We are here with Eric Fraker of the Home Depot, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about the Home Depot's newest program with the Georgia Municipal Association. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. So can you just share a little about the program?
Yeah, we just recently signed into an agreement with GMA. Really excited about it. So we've got an e-procurement platform. Pretty soon, all the cities will be pushed out a e-procurement site, so they'll be able to purchase from their desktop, processed in our office, and then the order will be fulfilled from the store. So they won't even have to go into the store to purchase from us anymore.
Wow, super convenient. So are there other kind of components of the agreement as well?
Yeah, so the other part is we'll have some volume pricing. They'll be able to request quotes through our corporate office. The quotes will be purchased, actually set up through our volume pricing program, so they'll see immediate discounts at the register.
Wow. So, I mean, how did this kind of relationship form? Do you know a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's meeting with Amy the last several years. Okay. It's probably been in the process for about 5 years, actually getting to this point. So it's taken a little bit of talking back and forth, but yeah, we're glad to have it in place and functioning.
Perfect. So obviously the convenience is huge. What other benefits do you think that it'll serve for the cities?
Well, I think it'll help to save them some time and some money, which are really two key elements of doing business. Yeah. So the volume pricing, which is direct to job site. So we can ship directly to job sites, stuff that's not necessarily in the store, whether it's anything from appliances to telephone poles.
Wow, so it sounds like the things that we can ship kind of run the gamut, as you said.
Right. Yeah, okay. They're not limited to what's in the store. So we've got access to, the thousands of vendors that we work with. We can get direct ship from our stores, or from the vendor directly to the cities.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you may want cities to know? Of course, they can come over, booth 431, visit Eric with the Home Depot. But is there anything else that you want to maybe talk about or mention?
Booth 431, come see us.
Okay, thank you so much, Eric. All right. Okay, now we are going to head over to Gas South, our friends at Gas South. Ready? Okay, we're going to try this walking backwards thing here. Excuse me? All righty. Popcorn smells so good. Excuse me. All right. So here we are at Gas South. Excuse me. Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
Good, I am great. Good to see you. Get you a flag. Hi, good. Can we? We want to do a, hi, how are you? Can we do a? Yes, we're going to talk a little bit kind of about Gas South, some programs for cities. Oh. Yes, you see it's very busy, a lot of energy in the exhibit hall. So we're here with Denise with Gas South. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the services and kind of the partnership and sponsorship with GMA?
Yes, we actually are a natural gas provider here in the state of Georgia, and we serve many cities throughout the Atlanta metropolitan area and some of the outer counties also. We've had a great partnership with GMA, and we've been working with them for probably over a decade. So they have a natural gas program, like I stated, that actually aggregates the supply so all the cities can actually receive a cheaper rate for their natural gas.
Perfect. So is there anything that you want cities to kind of like know? Obviously they're going to come and visit and get some nice things. What do we have here for the cities?
Well, we have, of course, you know, the GMA annual conference is actually held here in Savannah every year in the summertime. So we actually have a fan for all of our members. We definitely appreciate all the business from the cities, the member cities. This is the theme for this year is patriotic.
Right.
So we actually have some flags here for the city. Yes. 4th of July is right around the corner, so we have the fan, the koozies. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're good.
And welcome back to Live in the Hall at the GMA 84th Annual Convention. We're here in the exhibit hall. I'm Amy Henderson with GMA, and I am joined now by Dodd Farrell with Winterville. And you've got some great stuff you guys been doing with the arts there in Winterville.
Yes, we recently just had the elementary school create a mural that we put on the side of one of our city-owned buildings. We have a community garden that's right in the center of our historic district, and we wanted to promote that garden. And we have an old shed, believe it or not, a corrugated metal shed that has been yellow and red, the shell colors, since the 1930s.
Oh, wow. And
we wanted to do something with that. And when we started looking around for pricing on murals, those can get pretty expensive. Yeah, it's not a cheap endeavor, apparently. No, and my wife is a professional artist, and we know, so we started going around to the different organizations and asking how much money they would be willing to put up. And we weren't going to have enough money to afford a mural by a professional artist, so my wife had the idea of having the school kids at our elementary school, our public school, our children, all three of our children were there. So she had the idea of having them draw something that they would find in a garden, and she went over with the art teacher and worked for a couple of months, and they collected the drawings, and she put them together, and then she outlined their drawings. She put it into a cohesive mural, outlined their drawings on the side of the city building, and the community came out and filled in the paint. That is so great, and what a great idea to involve kids in this. What was the effect on them when they were? Well, I'll tell you what, the impact was huge, and it's going to be felt for years to come, and it's something that I want to do because the public school system, I feel strongly about that, and I feel like it's the greatest asset that our city has. So it's the driver, our revenue driver in a small city like ours. Right. So I'm trying to strengthen the school. And the kids, the 60 drawings that were chosen, and they weren't chosen because they were the best, they were just chosen because they fit into a cohesive mural that my wife could put together. Some of those kids don't eat when they go home on the weekends. So the idea is to empower these youth and to educate up and to inspire up. They see, here's my art on this wall for everybody to see. I can do this. I did this. Yeah. And the city believed in me, and the city believed in me enough to put it on the side of their building. What a great shot of confidence for those young people. It is, and it's also, like I say, inspire up. Maybe it inspires the parents to help a little more, and we all need to help. You know, things get so hectic in our lives that helping with homework sometimes gets neglected. Because you've got 3 young. We've got 3, so I think drill. So I think it works to empower the youth, educate up, inspire up, and those kids that some of them that don't eat on the weekends now are represented on that city building. They can be proud, and it may change their lives. That's amazing. And arts, of course, are important to you. You are a musician? I'm a musician, yes. And your wife is an artist, so this is kind of a way of life for you guys. Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's important for a city? Why is it important for the public to be invested? Oh, gosh. Just all the great things. I mean, the data is out there, but just the impact that art has on your life when you just ride by and see a piece of artwork when you're in a traffic jam. Right. It changes your day. I don't care whether you're an art. You know, some people. It's kind of a delightful surprise. It is, and I know some people might not like it, but overall, I think it has a calming and soothing effect, and art is therapeutic. It has been for me as a songwriter all my entire life. It is for my wife as a professional painter. Art is therapeutic, and so we can use that to be therapeutic for a whole lot of people, but we can also drive revenue because it attracts people to your city. Art is a great attractor. It really is, and I don't think anybody could dispute that. Because people want to be where there is interesting things to look at, great music to hear, things that as I say, those little delightful surprises in your life, because taking the trash, having the trash taken out once a week, you kind of expect that of your city. Right. But having a mural that's like, here's a bunch of kids that did this and the community helped with it. That's a different. And the community helped with that, which was incredible. And we had those kids, and I'll go back to the mural, the day that we unveiled it and that they walked down from the school, we gave them a police escort. The public school is about a mile from the mural, so we gave them a full police escort with the sirens. Great. And when they ran up and they saw their drawing on the side of their building, they were you heard over and over, this is the greatest day of my life. They were pulling. Aww. We had community members there. We had the superintendent of schools there. They were pulling us by the jacket and dragging us to their to their drawing
to show.
And to show us what they did, and it was so empowering. It was so, I mean, there were a lot of tears, in the community, because the community members that came out to paint it, I don't think they realized how much it was going to impact them back to see these little kids empowered. And it was there. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house.
It just kept giving. It's like the giving shed now.
I know, and I get chill bumps just talking about it over and over. And I tell people this, we've accomplished a lot, and I think I'll accomplish a lot if with the vision that we have for the city and the council that we have. I think we're going to do a lot. I think the thing that I'll be the most proud of when it's all said and done will be that mural.
That's awesome. That is so. I think that's what a great thing to be proud of too. And you hit on something, the importance of education, the importance of a school to a city. And this is something I don't know that a lot of people just I think most people don't recognize, is that cities really don't have a lot of direct impact or influence over education in their community, but they have great interest and concern, because it is something people choose where to live, oftentimes based upon what's available educationally.
Yeah, the first question that families ask when they move into an area is, how good is the school?
Yeah, tell me about the schools.
Tell me about the schools. And sometimes this is the last question they ask before they move on to another city. So yeah, and I beg to differ a little bit, and I think it's, I guess I get to wear two hats, because I'm not only the mayor, but my children are in the public school there.
Right.
So I can kind of walk through the school and
you get to do that, right?
Yeah, depending on what I need to address, I can take off one hat and be the parent. But I think we can impact our schools, and I think we can impact our schools by doing things like we did with the mural, and by doing things like having the community show up to empower young children, and and for these young children to say, "Hey, wow, this community really loves me." Yeah. So we can have
So they feel connected to the community.
They feel connected, and we can go back in and since then the schools, it's blossoming. The doors are open, and it is, and more community members I see them on the street saying, "Hey, I went over and visited the school and read to a class," and so
that's great. So it's a great connector then too. So you've got this greater connection, and I would suspect one of the things we hear from a lot of smaller cities in particular is that young people, they leave and they don't come back.
Right.
But if you've got a painting, your artwork on a wall that's publicly displayed, I would think that would be something that would probably bring you back to that community. And just having that connection that, as you say, my community is invested in me, and it's a circular investment.
Sure, and I want them to feel like they can stay.
Yeah.
And they'll have a future there, and I want to continue to do the things that we're doing in the city to promote the arts, and to, we've got an auditorium that's been closed down since about 1956, that we're trying to renovate. So we've got some great opportunities to really, really promote the arts and really drive the arts with a theater company that's going to call it home, and some of the different things that we can do to bring the arts back. Some good momentum going on to where we can start to build more business, because businesses are attracted to that, and we're trying to create a more walkable city, so that we can kind of cater to everybody. And I think of the city as a circle, so that we the age and place community that we're trying to bring in, so that we can start young to old and provide something for everybody, and just keep that circle going.
Because what people at this end of the age spectrum want is the same thing that people at this end of the age spectrum want.
Right.
Walkable places, education, art, all those great things that make it a connection.
Security and save, all those things. So, and I call our little city a screen door community, because
I love that.
It's a throwback to the days of, when I was younger, and you could run out the door and mom would call you home at 7 o'clock at night after being out all day long.
Right.
Our kids, we have a screen door on the front porch. We live right in the center of town. They run out of the screen door and they're safe, and it's sweet.
What a great community then to live in and to raise children in.
Sure.
And that's a great thing. What would you say, because we're talking a lot about leadership this weekend, and you're dealing with young people too. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about running for office, even if they're a little person or a bigger person? What advice would you give them about if they're thinking about being a public servant?
Wow. Commitment and the desire to serve and to help others is vital to being able to do this. You have to have a real passion for helping others, I believe, to do this in the right way and to do this from the heart, and which is the way I look at it. and I also look at it, I remove myself from all the situations that I'm in, and I kind of take an outside in look at the city and how I think the city might want to look in 100 years.
Right. Oh, what a great vision to have.
Yeah, so I try to look outside of myself and back into the city, removing myself from everything, every decision I make. So I think humility, grace, a sense of humor.
I think that would probably help a lot.
Yeah, I think all those things. If you have all those intact and in place, and a good grasp, a good decent intellect, and read a lot and study up on what you're talking about, and just I like to be the most informed guy in the room. So a long-winded answer to that would be prepared to help others from the heart.
That's great. That's a great answer, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate your leadership within your city and also within the state. I think every little piece that every city leader is adding to a bigger part. And my goal in life would be to see Georgia be the state that every other state looks at and says, yeah, they're doing it right.
I'm with you. I'm the same way.
And I appreciate your leadership in that too. Yeah. So have a great weekend here.
Thank
and I'm
going
to come check out the mural. And will you be singing in a square or doing anything like that anytime soon?
Yeah, well, we have that's another thing. We have our music Front Porch Bookstore concerts every Saturday at 6 o'clock on the lawn of the Front Porch Bookstore, which supports our library. We have concerts every Saturday. We have picnics, and the kids come out and kick soccer balls around and play. So, and the mural was in the GMA Quarterly not too long ago.
Yes.
So, yeah,
it's a great project.
Thank you all for supporting Winterville and all the cities in Georgia.
We appreciate you very much, and have a great weekend here.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. We're going to go to Kelly out there in the exhibit hall. We'll be right back.
Thank you. We are here with Pete Marty, with the CEO of Hannah Solar. Hi, Pete. How are you doing today?
Great, Kelly. How are you?
I'm awesome. A little tired, but all this energy in here is like, I can't slow down. So can you tell us a little bit about Hannah Solar?
Sure. We're out of Atlanta, and we work statewide. We have a Savannah office, and we've been doing solar for about 9 years and worked a lot with municipalities. We're doing a lot with the city of Valdosta. We did a big tracking array with the city of Baxley this year, and we've been building all over the Southeast, really, and having a lot of fun doing it.
Perfect. So I see you have a very kind of interactive booth, so let's just kind of go through some of the things here. What is this right here?
Well, so this is an electric vehicle charging station, and Georgia's the #2 electric vehicle market in the country. And we used to have a $5,000 tax credit, but unfortunately that went away a few years ago. But we've got this critical mass of electric vehicles, and really for a municipality, it's a fantastic transportation mode, because most of these cars aren't going great distances. They're kind of working around the town, public works departments. So the alternative fuels, CNG, propane, and electric, work really, really well for a city or a town. So on Tuesday, actually, there will be an alternative fuel road show educational seminar. I'll be speaking at that on Tuesday with Commissioner Echoes from the Public Service Commission. Atlanta Gas Light will be there, so it'll be a great event on Tuesday as well. But really, this is something that we do in addition to the solar that we do.
So you'll come out and install these in the cities, and there. I mean, kind of how does that process go? If a city says, you know, we want these, like you come out, a member of your team.
Right. We have about 45 electricians on our team, so we'll send out our team. You know, it goes out to bid, and so we win the bid or someone else wins the bid. This infrastructure gets put in. Georgia Power helps a lot with this. If it's a Georgia Power customer, if it's a MEAG customer, you know, they may want to work with a MEAG as far as putting some of the electrical infrastructure in for it. One of the great things for utilities, though, MEAG, EMC, or a investor-owned utility like Georgia Power, they're all faced with lower and lower electric loads, and so they need to build customers. And this is a way to build a customer. So instead of fueling with gasoline or diesel, you're fueling with electricity. And we actually have plenty of electricity and a great electrical grid. So this is one thing to build that market share up from a fueling standpoint. Transportation fuel, we've never thought of it like that before. We think of it as HVAC and lights and keeping us comfortable, but not transportation. It's a big opportunity for transportation and building increasing load, and they have a lot of excess power. So
it sounds like it just makes sense. Yeah, it's very exciting. So one more thing before we head over to our next exhibitor. What do we have back here?
This is energy storage, and sorry for the clutter in front of it, but this is a Sonnen system. This is what I actually have in my house. We've installed a bunch of these in the state, and it's actually manufactured in the state of Georgia in Norcross. Okay. It's a German company. They set up operations here. And what this does is the solar energy feeds this during the day because most of us are at work. And so we're overproducing energy during the day. We fill this up, and then this starts feeding our load when we come home, the sun goes down, it comes out of here, and then you're still connected to the grid, and when this is depleted, the grid feeds us, and then in the morning, sun comes up again, this starts filling up, the load at your house, it comes off the sun, and then in the evening it does this again. So I actually fill my Nissan Leaf up with this at night, and so I'm driving on sunshine both from the office and at home.
Driving on sunshine, very cool. Is there anything else you want to add to let our cities know to come and visit you?
Well, the one thing that I would want to say is we've got a READY program coming out with Georgia Power. It's called the Renewable Energy Development Initiative, and it's a great opportunity for cities to actually have solar on some excess land they have and lease the land to a solar developer, but also at the same time they can offset some of their load by putting up solar at the same time because it's a little more cost effective. So it can be a super win-win. And you know, the city of Baxley just put up this big tracking array, and their savings are really significant. We've done wastewater treatment plants in Vidalia, Waycross, all of Valdosta. It's really incredible, and we've gone on old landfills as well in Nashville, Georgia, which you probably didn't know there is in Nashville, Georgia, but there is.
I've heard of it. Right. Well, thank you so much, Pete. You all come over. Okay, and we're actually going to head to our next exhibitor. Come over and visit Pete. Thank you. Thank you. All righty. All right. So we just talked the hand and solar. All right, and we're going to go back to Amy over in the Live in the Hall.
And welcome back. I'm Amy with Georgia Municipal Association. We're live in the hall at the exhibit center at the GMA's 84th annual convention. I keep wanting to jump either a year ahead or a year behind. I've lost track of the years. And I am joined by Albany Mayor Dorothy Hubbard, who is our incoming president for GMA. And you're going to be, you get elected on to us, I guess tomorrow. lost track of the days. Elected tomorrow and sworn in Monday.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit, kind of what your plans are. You have a year as the president. What are some of the things that you want to see?
First of all, let me just tell you, I'm really excited, and I have thought a lot about some of the things that I can do to make a difference, and some things that I would like to leave in place that would, be a carryover, a continuation. So my first plan, of course, is to continue the training, making sure that we've done everything we can to have a training program that is better than any other in the country. And I really believe that at this point, we have the best training program in the United States of America. We've accommodated, the newly elected officials. We work with people who've been in the field for a long time. We're training them. We are keeping them up to date on things as they change. And so I really do plan to continue to concentrate on training and to do everything I can to help and support that, as well as to encourage all of the elected officials to get some of that training that's available to them.
And you, as you mentioned, you were chair of the our training board for several years. You were on the board.
I think I was like 3 or 4 years.
Yes,
I did that.
And our training program continued to grow and change, not just grow, but change as well. We shortened some classes to 3 hours. We're doing more experimenting with online type classes and that kind of thing. Why is that important to you?
Well, number one, I think that we were listening to the membership. And as we listened to the membership, we tried to give them what they say they wanted and what they say they needed. And when you listen to your constituents, when you listen to the membership, then you can't help but end up being better than you were because you've done what they say they wanted. And they've shown us that was really what they wanted, because that classes have been overflowing for the last couple of years.
We use up every single space here for training.
Yes, we do, and I'm just so proud of that because certainly people do need the training, and when you give it to them the way they want it and the way they can get it, then they are more than likely to take advantage of it.
I do think I always try to emphasize this to people who aren't familiar with GMA, that Georgia was the first state in the nation to have mandatory training for newly elected officials. And GMA was a part of that from the get-go.
Yes,
and our training just continues to grow. And not just the number of classes, but I think and this again is a testament to your leadership there, is that we have emerging issues classes, so it's not static.
That's exactly right. We have emerging issues, and we added classes in areas like in the utilities areas when I was board chair, and those are the kinds of things that you have to be mindful of. We also changed the time of some of them. Some of them were 6 hours, and we would spend the whole day on Saturday, but we split them up and made a part 1 and maybe in a part 2, and 3 hours on Friday, and then you can get another 3 hours on Monday or Tuesday. And so it just also is convenient for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have money to come and stay, but you can leave home from anywhere in Georgia and get here for a 2 o'clock class on Friday evening, And if you want to, you could really go back home and probably get there right after dusk dark. So it's been a real joy for me to see it.
And we should note, too, that you are a retired educator.
I am.
So education is near and dear.
It just was in line with what I had done. I was, at one time, a registrar and director of admissions. And so in my role as registrar, I would always do the evaluation of courses and course content and what ought to be included in courses and those kind of things. So when I was reading courses for GMA, it was just right down what I had done for years.
I got this.
So I was just right at home, and I just
it was not a surprise to me last year. We did a survey of our membership of the elected officials to get a little bit more information about who they are. And one of the things we asked was, what do you do? What's your career? Even if you're retired, what was your career? And number 1 was business. Number 2 was education. And that didn't surprise me at all, because I see the interest that our city officials have in training and being educated, and the value.
That's what I was about to say. See, education is always connected to all of this.
You
can't get around it in any way. So when you are in education, you just want to learn. You feel an obligation to help your constituents, to help invest in the community, invest in the children, everything. So it's just a continuous process, as a matter of fact.
We're talking a lot about leadership this weekend.
Yes.
And you were first appointed to the city council.
Yes.
By Governor Perdue.
Governor Perdue.
Then
yes.
Governor Perdue.
Yes.
And decided to run for mayor.
Well, I don't know that I decided. My constituents decided that I had done such a good job that they wanted me. They were like calling me. It's like, I know you're running. You know.
So and that's great. I mean, it was a call to leadership.
Yes.
Whether you wanted it or not.
Right.
And you are the first female mayor of Albany.
I am.
What does that mean, do you think, for other young women who see you in this role?
Well, I think it's just wonderful for other young women. You know, I have never looked at it, and I just do what I do, and I try to do everything that I do very well. But when I stop to think about it, you know, people ask me, young ladies, what is your legacy going to be? You know, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to do the best I can. But I do see young women who see me, and their eyes just light up like, you're the mayor. And, you know, what do you do? What does mayors do? And, you know, they ask me all kinds of questions. And Amy, being in education, I also go to every school that I'm invited to during the year. I mean, I'm in there for government and all kinds of programs and beginning programs. And so the young ladies would come up to me and they would say things like, do you live in a White House? You know, do we pay? Yeah, all those kinds of things. I'm like, no, babe, I live in my own house. That kind of thing. And how much money do you make? And you know, and I tell them how much money do they say. I said, is that a lot of money? They're like, yeah, that's a lot of money. But I want to tell you the question that they ask me all the time. One that they don't ask me all the time. And one little young lady did ask me at a school. She asked me, how old are you? And I said, I told you how old I had to be mayor, right? I have to be 18.
So I'm older than 18.
I'm older than 18. And it was so funny because the principal was like that. She said, now you really answered that one. Because, you know, they think 25 is old, you know. And I'm 2 times that, 3 times that, you know. But it was funny. But I really do believe that young ladies really want to aspire to be a mayor or some elected official.
I think they look at you and they see the possible.
Yes, they do. And I tell you, I try, like I said, I try to encourage them and inspire them in a way. One day in December, every year after they get out of school, I stay in my office and I allow any young lady who wants to come by my office to come by and talk to me about what it means to be mayor and that kind of thing. So, but now, it is heartwarming for me to see them, you know, aspiring to be.
I was going to ask you about some of the great things going on in Albany, but we're almost out of time, and there are so many awesome, great things going on in Albany. And to me, it's one of the greatest cities in the state.
Well, thank you.
You've got such
and
great
you know,
possibilities.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome there.
But before we go, I have to ask, because I noticed this, the pin on your shoulder. You always wear. It's a
wear
bee.
A bee. Yes.
Tell us what is.
Well, that says that to the world that if a bee can fly, that I can do anything. And so it just reminds me to keep trying, and I will get whatever I want to accomplish.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to this year with you, getting to work with you even closer than we have in the past, and seeing you all over the state, because I'm sure you'll be
I will
everywhere.
Be there. You know I will.
Great. Well, thank you so much, and we're going to be right back with Kelly in just a minute. And we're back, and we're finishing up for tonight. We've had some great interviews. I love you talking to some of the vendors out there.
Exhibitors like walking around. I'm like, wait, I'll see you tomorrow, I promise. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it's been a really good day. And I think we have to say a big thank you to the City of Douglasville television crew. We work with them every year, and
they put up with us every year.
Yeah, that's what I should say. So they put up with us every year, and they've just been amazing.
They have.
You did the opening video with them today. It was aired today. You guys worked together over the last several months.
In the heat, and they accepted all my complaining with a smile.
Yes.
So they're awesome.
Yeah, so we do appreciate the City of Douglasville so much for lending us their crew for this time. And we look forward to working and seeing them tomorrow, and we'll be back.
Yeah, tomorrow early in the morning.
Early in the morning. I think we start up about 9 in the morning.
Yes.
Somewhere around then. And we'll meet some more of the exhibitors who are here and some of the great solutions they have, and talk to some other folks here at our convention. So y'all have a great evening, and thank you for joining us today.
Have a good night.